It was about 100 years ago when the ingenuity of the blue tit raiding the cream on top of doorstep milk bottles was first recorded. By the 1950s, they were recorded across the entire UK, piercing the aluminium foils and successfully getting to the energy-rich cream, gaining a viral fascination amongst the public. They were even known to identify which colour bottle tops indicated skimmed milk, so they could avoid these, and to follow milk floats awaiting the delivery. A 1949 British Bird paper gave a fascinating account of the spread of this behaviour. Sadly, the lack of doorstep deliveries these days means the behaviour is now relegated to folklore. In late autumn and winter, family flocks of blue tits often join up with other small birds as they search for food, forming roving flocks. These may well pass through your garden and hopefully dally a while if there is a good feeding station. Other tit species, including long-tailed as well as chaffinches, goldcrests and tree creepers, may be in the flock of 10 to 20 birds or more, making soft contact calls to keep in touch. A roving tit flock survey by the Young Ornithologists Club recorded over 40 different species in such flocks. Because of this behaviour of passing through the area, there will be many more individuals visiting your garden than you ever see at any one time. Few garden birds are more exquisite than the long-tailed tit. But for their disproportionately long tails, which slightly exceed the length of the rest of their bodies, these birds are truly tiny. They weigh in at about 9 grams. That's less than a £1 coin. Balls of these tumbling, seesawing birds bounce from one garden to the next during winter in search of food. The goldfinch is one of the prettiest birds you're likely to see. A pale brown body with yellow and black plumage and a crimson-red coloured head. The underpart of the goldfinch is a mix of brown with lashings of white. Finches are the go-to example of evolution in action, and the goldfinch is no different. Its sharp, pointed bill allows it to get at the smallest seed possible, right in the depths of a plant. This means that by having a wild part of the garden, you're increasing the chances of a goldfinch visiting. Of course, Niger seeds is loved by goldfinches as well. The goldfinch is an abundant British breeding resident with around 500,000 pairs. Its song is distinctive and highly appealing. However, its birdsong was also one of the reasons the species had previously declined, with widespread trapping taking place for the caged bird industry. Thankfully, this practice has long been illegal, and indeed it was one of the RSPB's earliest campaigns which led to this happening. Goldfinches are social and gregarious birds, both in and outside the breeding season, and are rarely seen alone on garden feeders, though frequently squabble between themselves for perch position. Perhaps their most interesting behaviour is the ability to hold onto a plant stem and seed head to remove tiny individual seeds. The gold on the goldfinch's wings gives the bird connotations of wealth and prosperity. It's believed that if a young girl dreams of a goldfinch, she would marry into wealth. This is perhaps also the inspiration for the following verse from the song The Wedding of Cock Robin and Jenny Wren. "Oh then," says Parson Rook, "who gives this maid away?" "I do," says the goldfinch, "and her fortune I will pay." On average, robins only live a couple of years, but a few reach quite an advanced age. The oldest known wild individual was 11 years and 5 months. Mortality is high and its causes are many and varied. Only around 40% of fledged birds will survive for 1 year to the next. High levels of mortality are compensated for by high productivity, and the robin population has increased by 45% since 1970. Severe winter weather can have severe impacts on robins. A bird can use up to 10% of its body weight during one cold winter's night, and unless it's able to feed well every day to replenish its reserves, a prolonged cold spell can be fatal. In normal circumstances, the fat reserves built up by the bird will keep it going for a few days, but mortality tends to increase rapidly if a cold spell continues into a second week. The north wind doth blow, and we shall have snow. And what will poor Robin do then, poor thing? He'll sit in a barn and keep himself warm and hide his head under his wing, poor thing.